How I Learned English from Zero, a Beginner's Story. The Big Decision. Hi, my name is Martin, and I want to tell you a story that completely changed my life. 1 year ago, I couldn't speak English. I mean it. I couldn't say even one full, correct sentence. Every time I tried, my brain would freeze. I would think too much, translate from Slovak in my head, and by the time I was ready to say something, the moment was already gone. I was 24, living in a small town in Slovakia, and working as a technician in a local factory. It was a good job, safe, stable, predictable. But deep inside, I wanted something more. I wanted to see the world, meet people from other countries, and challenge myself to grow. The problem? English. Every good opportunity, better jobs, travel, international friendships, seemed to require English. And I had none. But I kept saying, maybe next year. Maybe I'll start when I have more time. Maybe I'll sign up for a course one day. Years passed. Nothing changed. Then one cold Tuesday morning, something unexpected happened. I got an email. It was from an international engineering company I had applied to months ago, half as a joke. Congratulations, Martin. You've passed the first round. The final interview is in June in Copenhagen. Please prepare. English level B2 required. I froze. My first reaction? Fear. My second reaction? Panic. I read the email 5 times. Copenhagen? Final interview? B2 English? That's upper intermediate. I was barely A1. This was insane. I couldn't do this. I couldn't even understand full English movies without subtitles. How could I possibly be ready in time? I almost deleted the email. But something inside me said, what if you just try? That evening, I walked around my small apartment, thinking about my life. I imagined waking up in Denmark, walking into a modern office, speaking English confidently with new colleagues. I imagined a different version of myself, stronger, more capable, proud. And then I did something small that changed everything. I took a sticky note and wrote 5 simple words, 1 year. No more excuses. I stuck it on my door. It would be the first thing I saw every morning. That was the day I made a decision. I decided to stop dreaming and start doing. I decided to take full responsibility for my English, no matter how hard it would be. Not for school, not for a grade, but for me. That sticky note stayed there for the next 365 days. You need a strong reason. Learning English is hard, not because the words are difficult, but because life gets in the way. You're tired, you're busy, you don't have time, and when you're not motivated, it's easy to stop. That's why you need a strong reason to keep going. Not just, I want to learn English someday. That's weak. You need something powerful, emotional, personal. For me, it was the dream of starting a new life. Of working abroad. Of feeling proud of myself. Your reason might be different. Maybe you want to watch your favorite shows without subtitles. Maybe you want to travel to New York or London. Maybe you want to help your children with their homework. Maybe you just want to feel free and confident in any country. Whatever it is, make it clear. Write it down. Put it on your wall. On your phone. On your fridge. And look at it every day. Because when the motivation disappears, and it will, your reason is what keeps you going. Tips you can use today. 1. Write down 3 personal reasons you want to learn English. Make sure they are emotional, not just logical. Example. I want to work in another country. I want to speak freely when I travel. I want to feel smart and confident when I talk to foreigners. 2. Put those reasons where you can see them every day. Stick them on your mirror, your desk, or your phone wallpaper. 3. Tell someone about your goal. When you say it out loud or post it on social media, it becomes real. You feel more responsible. You're not just doing it for yourself now, others are watching too. 4. Choose a real deadline. My deadline was the final interview in June. You can set yours. I will have a conversation with a native speaker in 3 months. I will pass an English test by December. I will finish 100 days of daily English practice. Deadlines change dreams into goals. What I did in my first week. You might be wondering, okay, Martin, you made the decision, but what did you actually do next? Good question. That's the focus of the next chapter. But here's a quick look at my first 7 days. Day 1. I listened to an English podcast for 10 minutes. I understood almost nothing, but I didn't stop. Day 2. I repeated the same podcast, this time reading the transcript at the same time. Day 3. I downloaded a 30-day English challenge and created a habit tracker on my wall. Day 4. I made a playlist called English Motivation and started listening during breakfast. Day 5. I wrote 5 sentences about my day in English. Simple ones, full of mistakes, but I wrote. Day 6. I watched a YouTube video about shadowing. It looked hard, but I saved it. Day 7. I promised myself to do something in English every single day, even if only 5 minutes. I wasn't perfect. I was still confused, still shy, but I had momentum. I was no longer standing still. And that was enough. Coming up next. In Chapter 2, I'll show you exactly how I built a learning routine that stuck, even when I was tired, busy, or unmotivated. You'll learn how I turned English into a daily habit, not a once-a-week problem. Ready? Let's keep going. Chapter 2 coming right next. The habit that changed everything. In the beginning, I believed motivation would be my superpower. But I was wrong. Motivation is like a good friend who visits sometimes, but never stays. Some mornings, I felt excited. I opened my English app, played a podcast, and smiled while learning new words. But on other days, I felt tired, or stressed, or lazy. That's when I realized something important. If I only studied when I felt motivated, I would never improve. So I made a decision. I would build a habit instead. My simple plan. 30 days, no excuses. I read a blog about building habits. It said, don't focus on how much. Focus on how often. So I stopped worrying about doing 1 hour of English every day. Instead, I promised to do 10 minutes, no matter what. I printed a paper calendar and taped it to my bedroom wall. Every day I completed my English routine, I marked a big red X on that day. Day 1. I listened to a beginner-level English podcast for 10 minutes. It was hard. I didn't understand most of it, but I did it. Day 2. Another podcast. Still hard. Another red X. Day 3. I watched a YouTube video with English subtitles. Still didn't understand everything. Another red X. By day 7, something surprising happened. I still didn't understand much. But I felt proud when I looked at the calendar. The red X's looked beautiful. They showed progress, even when I felt confused. The power of the chain. After 10 days, I didn't want to break the chain. Each X felt like a tiny win. I didn't want to lose my streak. This small trick gave me energy, even on days when I was tired after work. Sometimes I only had 5 minutes. Sometimes I was sick, but I still opened my English app. Even for 1 word, even for 1 sentence, I became the kind of person who does English every day. That was new. That was powerful. After 30 days, I completed my first challenge, a full month without missing a single day. But it wasn't easy. There were days I forgot. Days I wanted to give up. One Sunday I went hiking with friends. We returned late, and I was exhausted. I brushed my teeth and was about to go to bed, then I saw the calendar. No red X yet. I opened YouTube, searched, beginner English listening, and watched a 5-minute clip before sleeping. It wasn't perfect, but I saved the chain. That night, I smiled as I added the red X. What I did during my daily practice. You might be thinking, what exactly did you do in those 10 minutes? Here are a few simple activities I used during that first month. 1. Podcasts. I listened to easy English shows, like the English We Speak or Voice of America Learning English. 2. YouTube with subtitles. I watched short videos and repeated key phrases. 3. Duolingo or Quizlet, just a few vocabulary drills to stay active. 4. Short writing. I wrote 1 or 2 sentences about my day. Example. Today I was tired. I fixed 2 machines. Now I want to sleep. 5. Flashcards. I reviewed 5 new words and tried to use them in simple sentences. 6. Shadowing, preparation. I started practicing a few lines out loud, just reading subtitles and mimicking the tone. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't fast. But it was consistent. And that changed everything. Small steps build big results. If you wait for the perfect day, you'll wait forever. Instead, commit to small actions, every day. The secret is not how long you study. It's that you study regularly. That's what rewires your brain. Don't try to do 1 hour and then stop for a week. Do 10 minutes every day. You will learn more. You will feel more confident. And most importantly, you will become the kind of person who never gives up. Tips you can use today. 1. Choose your minimum dose. What's the smallest action you can do in English each day? 1 podcast episode? 5 flashcards? 1 new word used in a sentence? 2. Create a habit tracker. You can print a calendar and mark red X's like I did, or use an app like Habitica, Loop Habit Tracker, or just a notebook. 3. Don't break the chain. 1 day missed is okay. 2 days missed is dangerous. Always bounce back immediately. 4. Link English with daily life. Connect English to habits you already have. Listen while brushing your teeth. Watch YouTube while eating. Write a sentence before bed. 5. Keep it fun and flexible. Don't force boring methods. If something feels difficult, change the tool, not the habit. The results after 30 days. After my first full month of daily English, I noticed a few things. I started recognizing basic words faster. I felt less afraid when hearing fast English. I wanted to keep going, even without motivation. I finally believed, maybe I really can learn this. And the best part? It was just the beginning. I'll show you how I moved from listening to speaking, even though I was scared, shy, and unsure how to begin. You'll learn how shadowing and pronunciation practice helped me sound more natural in just a few weeks. My first words. Speaking without fear. For the first 2 months of learning English, I was silent. I listened every day. I watched videos. I learned new words. But when it was time to say something out loud, I froze. I felt nervous, shy, and afraid of making mistakes. I kept asking myself, what if I sound stupid? What if I say the wrong thing? What if people laugh? And then I found something that changed everything. It was a method called shadowing. What is shadowing? Shadowing is simple but powerful. You listen to a native speaker and repeat their words immediately, trying to copy their pronunciation, rhythm, and tone. It's like English karaoke, but instead of singing, you speak real sentences. You don't wait. You don't pause. You just shadow their voice like an echo. My first attempt. I found a short TED-Ed video about why cats are weird. It had English subtitles. I played the first 10 seconds and tried to repeat. It was a disaster. I stumbled. I mixed the words. I couldn't keep up. I said things like, cats, are, interesting, anima, animals. I felt stupid, but I didn't stop. The next day, I played the same 10 seconds again. And again. I started slowly, listening and pausing. Then I tried again in real time. After 1 week, I could speak the first part of the video almost perfectly. I started enjoying it. Shadowing became a fun game. What I did step by step. Here's how I practiced shadowing each day. 1. Pick a short clip 30 to 60 seconds. I used TED, movie trailers, or short interviews. 2. Watch with subtitles. Listen and read once or twice. 3. Repeat after each sentence, pause the video. Say it out loud. Try to copy exactly. 4. Turn off subtitles. Now shadow in real time, no reading. Just listen and repeat. 5. Record myself. I used my phone. It was awkward at first, but helpful. 6. Compare recordings. Day 1 versus Day 7. The difference was shocking. Shadowing in daily life. Soon, I started shadowing everywhere. While walking, while cooking, even while brushing my teeth. I listened to slow English podcasts and whispered the words. I repeated phrases from my favorite YouTubers. At work, I sometimes repeated English signs or machine labels in my head. Every chance I got, I practiced speaking. The words became mine. Something magical happened after 2 to 3 weeks of shadowing. I stopped needing to think about every word. The phrases started to flow naturally. For example, instead of thinking, Slovak, ch some East Domov. Translate to English. I want to go home. I simply said, I want to go home. Like breathing. That's fluency. Not perfection, but flow. Speak before you're ready. This is one of the biggest lessons I learned. You don't become confident before you speak. You become confident because you speak. If you wait until you're perfect, you'll wait forever. You must speak, even with mistakes. Even when you feel stupid. The first 100 sentences will be terrible. The next 100 will be better. And after 1000, you'll be unstoppable. Tips you can use today. 1. Start shadowing today. Choose a 30-second video and copy the speaker. It's okay to be bad at first. 2. Record yourself. Use your phone. Save the recordings and compare after 1 week. 3. Use slow speed content. Start with slow English podcasts, children's stories, or beginner interviews. 4. Focus on rhythm and tone. Don't worry about every single word. Try to sound natural. 5. Create a shadow library. Save your favorite clips and repeat them often. Like songs. 6. Don't stop because of mistakes. Shadowing is messy. That's part of the process. How I knew it was working. One evening, I went for a walk in my neighborhood. I listened to an episode of The English We Speak from BBC Learning English. It was about the phrase, let's catch up. As I walked, I repeated everything the speakers said. I tried to copy their accents, their pauses, their smiles. Suddenly, a neighbor walked past. I froze, feeling embarrassed. Then I smiled and thought, wait, I'm speaking English. For real. That night, I looked in the mirror and said, you're doing it, Martin. You're really learning. That feeling stayed with me for weeks. Now that I was speaking, I needed to fix something big, grammar. But I didn't want boring grammar books. I'll show you how I learned grammar naturally, without stress or long rules. Grammar without rules, but with results. Let's be honest. Grammar scares people. When you hear words like past perfect continuous passive, your brain wants to shut down. Mine did. At school, grammar was pain. I memorized charts. I filled in blanks. I got red marks for missing an S. I passed tests, but I couldn't speak. So when I started learning English again as an adult, I made a decision. No grammar rules. At least not in the beginning. A 60-day no grammar experiment. I told myself. For the next 60 days, I will not open a grammar book. I will only learn through doing. Instead of memorizing rules, I would notice patterns. I would write and speak. If something felt wrong, I would fix it later. It was scary, but also exciting. The Daily English Journal. Here's what I did. Every night before bed, I opened a notebook and wrote 3 to 5 simple sentences about my day. Here are examples. I worked with a new machine. It broke again. I was tired, but I finished. At first, I made many mistakes. I knew that, but I didn't care. I wrote anyway. Then I copied my text into a grammar checking app. There are many free ones online, Grammarly, Language Tool, even Google Docs. It underlined mistakes. I clicked suggestions. I fixed them. Over time, I started feeling the grammar, without knowing the technical names. I started to trust my ear. Color coding patterns. To help myself remember grammar naturally, I started color coding my sentences. Blue equals past tense. Green equals future tense. Yellow equals modals, like can, must, should. For example, I worked with a new machine. Blue. I will finish the report tomorrow. Green. I must fix it before lunch. Yellow. Seeing these colors helped me notice which forms I used most often. I didn't just study grammar, I lived it. I read like a detective. Another secret to learning grammar naturally? Read more, but read like a detective. I started reading short stories in English, books made for learners. I didn't understand every word, but that was okay. I focused on the structures. How do native speakers talk about the past? How do they ask questions? How do they describe feelings? When I saw a pattern I liked, I wrote it down. For example, I've been waiting for hours. I didn't fully understand the present perfect continuous. But I knew it meant, waiting started earlier and is still happening. That was enough. I learned to feel grammar in context, not fear it in theory. Grammar equals noticing. This became my personal definition. Grammar is not a set of rules. Grammar is a set of habits. Just like brushing your teeth or tying your shoes, you don't remember the instructions. You just do it. Grammar can work the same way, if you use the language enough. Grammar follows practice, not the other way around. Most learners try to understand English before they use it, but that doesn't work well. Use it first. Speak it, write it, try it, then notice what sounds right. Fix what sounds wrong. That's how children learn. And adults can too. Don't wait to feel ready. Use the grammar, even when it's messy. Your brain is smarter than you think. Tips you can use today. 1. Start a no rules journal. Write 3 to 5 sentences daily about your life. Don't worry about mistakes. Just write. 2. Use a grammar checker. Tools like Grammarly or Google Docs can show your mistakes and help you learn through correction. 3. Color code your sentences. Use colors for different tenses or structures. Seeing patterns helps memory. 4. Read like a detective. Choose easy English books or stories. Look for common sentence structures and copy them. 5. Repeat phrases often. If a phrase sounds good, use it 10 times in the next week. Make it yours. 6. Ignore technical terms. For now, don't worry if you can't define past perfect. If you can use it, that's what matters. What happened after 60 days? After 2 months of this natural grammar method, I noticed big changes. My journal had fewer red lines. My sentences felt more automatic. I spoke faster, with fewer pauses. I started self-correcting while talking. People said, "Martin, your English sounds more natural now." And the truth was, I didn't study any grammar rules. I just practiced. I just paid attention. That was enough. Now that my grammar was improving, it was time to face my biggest fear, real conversations. In the next chapter, I'll show you how I went from silent and shy to speaking with confidence through online chats and language exchange. Let's talk about talking. Chapter 5 is next. Real conversations, real confidence. At this point in my journey, I could understand beginner podcasts. I could write basic sentences in my diary. I could shadow short videos and feel proud of my progress. But there was one thing I still couldn't do: talk to a real person in English. I was scared. What if I didn't understand them? What if I said something wrong? What if I embarrassed myself? I had spent so many hours learning alone. Now it was time to step outside my comfort zone and into a real conversation. Language exchange apps. I downloaded an app called Tandem. It's a platform where people from different countries practice languages together. You speak your target language, and they speak theirs. I created a simple profile. Hi, I'm Martin from Slovakia. I'm learning English and can help you with Slovak smiley face. Within 1 hour, I had 5 messages. People from Brazil, Germany, Japan, and Canada wanted to talk. I picked one. Alex, a 27-year-old engineer from Toronto. He seemed friendly and patient. We scheduled a 15-minute video call for the next day. My first real conversation, a messy success. When the time came, I almost canceled. My palms were sweaty. My heart was racing. I wanted to hide. But I opened the app and joined the call. Alex waved. He smiled. He said, "Hey Martin. Nice to meet you." And I said, "Hello. I am glad meet you too." My brain went blank. I forgot every phrase I had practiced. But Alex waited patiently. He spoke slowly. He repeated himself. He used simple words. We talked about food, pizza is universal. Weather, favorite animals, my job, his country. Was it smooth? No. Did I make mistakes? Many. But I survived. After 15 minutes, I laughed and said, I did it. And I wanted to do it again. Weekly practice, massive progress. Alex and I started chatting twice a week. Every time, it got easier. I prepared short answers before each call. I learned how to keep conversations going with questions like, "What about you? Why do you like that? Can you tell me more? What do you think?" These questions saved many conversations when I didn't know what else to say. After a few weeks, I joined 3 more chats with new partners. One from India, one from Italy, one from South Korea. Each person had a different accent, different speed, different personality. This helped me train my ears and build flexibility. What I learned from talking to real people. I discovered many things in those first few months of real conversation. People don't care about your mistakes. They care about your message. Fluency is not about speed. It's about connection. Confidence comes after action, not before. And the most surprising lesson? I started thinking in English during conversations. There was no time to translate. I just listened and answered. Even simple answers felt amazing. I like it because it's funny. I saw that movie last year. I don't know the word, but I can describe it. These small victories felt like gold. Speak early. Speak often. So many learners wait too long to speak. They think, I'll talk when I'm ready. I need better grammar first. My vocabulary is too small. But here's the truth. You'll never feel 100% ready. And that's okay. Start now. Speak badly. Make mistakes. That's how you grow. Tips you can use today. 1. Join a language exchange app. Try Tandem, HelloTalk, Speaky, or Conversation Exchange. Choose one and create a simple profile. 2. Schedule short video calls. Start with 10 to 15 minutes. That's enough. Longer calls can come later. 3. Prepare simple answers in advance. Use flashcards for common topics like hobbies, family, travel, work, food. 4. Use conversation savers. Write down phrases like, "Let me think. Can you repeat that? I don't know the word, but what about you?" 5. Celebrate every call. After each session, write one sentence. "I talked for 15 minutes today, and I didn't die." 6. Talk to yourself if needed. No partners? No problem. Practice speaking in the mirror. Record monologues. Narrate your day in English. The call that changed everything. After 2 months of practice, I joined a group chat with 3 other English learners and 1 native speaker. We talked for 30 minutes about weekend plans. I didn't prepare. I didn't panic. I just talked. At the end, the native speaker said, "Martin, your English sounds very natural. You speak with confidence." I smiled. Not because I was perfect, but because I had come so far. Now that I was speaking regularly, it was time for a real test. Immersion. In the next chapter, I'll tell you what happened when I took a solo weekend trip abroad, and used English all day long. Immersion weekend. My English in real life. Learning English online is one thing. Using it in real life is another. After 6 months of daily study, I could listen, speak, and write at a basic level. But deep down, I still had one big fear. Can I survive in a real English-speaking country? So I made a bold decision. I booked a weekend trip to London. Alone. My first solo English adventure. It wasn't expensive. I found cheap plane tickets and a budget hostel. I didn't plan much. I just wanted to test my English in the real world. No subtitles. No grammar checkers. No pause button. Just me, my backpack, and English all around me. Day 1 arrival and surprises. At the airport, the announcements were fast. Gate 12 now boarding. Final call. I understood it. That small moment gave me confidence. On the plane, I sat next to a man reading a business magazine. He said, "First time to London?" I smiled and answered, "Yes, first time. I'm here to, practice English and see the city." He smiled back and said, "That's brave. Enjoy it." Simple conversation. But it felt amazing. When I landed, I had to ask for directions to the train. I walked up to a worker and said, "Excuse me, where is train to city?" He said something fast. I only caught, "Downstairs, platform 3. Oyster card." I nodded, smiled, and somehow found the right train. I was doing it. Day 1 ordering food. That night, I walked into a small pub. The waiter said, "What can I get you, mate?" I panicked for 1 second. Then I replied, "Fish and chips, please. And water." He said something else. I missed half of it. I smiled and said, "Sorry, can you say that again slowly?" He repeated, "Do you want salt and vinegar on it?" I laughed. "Yes, everything." I sat down, looked around, and realized I was functioning in English. I made it through the airport, the train, and dinner. It wasn't perfect, but it was real, and it was working. Day 2 getting lost, learning more. The next morning, I got lost trying to find a museum. Instead of checking Google Maps, I decided to ask someone. I approached a local woman and said, "Hi, I'm looking for British Museum. Is it near here?" She smiled and gave me detailed directions, maybe too detailed. I only understood 70%, but I said, "Thank you so much." I turned one wrong street, but I made it in the end. That small success gave me the courage to ask more people for help, recommendations, and information during the day. I asked about tickets, public transport, opening hours, prices, local food. By the end of the day, I was more relaxed speaking English than ever before. My London English notebook. During the trip, I carried a small notebook. I wrote down phrases I heard but didn't understand, funny signs, new expressions, words I needed but didn't know. Here are some examples from that notebook. Top up your card. For adding money. Mind the gap. On the subway. No worries. Meaning, it's okay. Cheers, used instead of thanks. When I returned to my hostel each night, I looked them up and practiced them aloud. This made the trip a learning experience, not just a holiday. Accents and real-life English. One thing I noticed quickly, real English is fast. People speak quickly. They drop words. They use slang. At first, I struggled. But soon, I started catching the important words. I didn't need 100%, just enough to understand the main idea. And if I didn't understand? I asked, "Sorry, could you repeat that more slowly? I'm learning English. Can you explain that?" People were kind. Nobody laughed at me. They respected the effort. That gave me the confidence to keep going. Immersion changes everything. It's one thing to learn English at home. It's another thing to use it in a real country, in real time, with real people. Immersion gives you something books can't, pressure plus support. You must use what you know. You don't have a choice. But that's what makes you grow. Even a short trip, 2 or 3 days, can boost your skills like crazy. Tips you can use today. 1. Take a short trip abroad. If possible, visit a place where English is spoken. Even for 2 days, it will test and train your skills fast. 2. Prepare survival phrases. Could you say that again slowly? How do you spell that? I'm looking for. What does that mean? 3. Ask instead of Googling. Need directions? Ask a person, not your phone. 4. Write down what you hear. Carry a small notebook and record new phrases, funny moments, words you needed but didn't know. 5. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. People are kind. They understand. Your effort means more than perfect grammar. 6. Treat the world like a classroom. The signs, menus, street conversations, everything becomes a lesson if you stay curious. Leaving London, but not the language. On the flight back home, I felt something different. I wasn't just learning English. I was living it. I had faced my fear. I had tested myself in the real world. And I passed. I wasn't fluent, but I was confident. And confidence opens doors. In the next chapter, I'll show you how I moved from translation to thinking directly in English, a huge step for fluency. I'll explain how you can train your brain to stop using your native language as a middleman. Thinking in English. How to train your brain. After returning from London, something in me had changed. I no longer felt afraid of English. I no longer felt like a student. I felt like a user of the language. But one habit still slowed me down. I kept translating everything in my head. Every time I wanted to speak, I had to 1. Think of the sentence in Slovak. 2. Translate it into English. 3. Say it, often too late. This process made me slow, nervous, and tired. I needed to fix it. I needed to start thinking in English. Why translation slows you down? Translating in your head is like using crutches. Yes, it helps you walk, but it stops you from running. If you want to speak naturally, you must remove your native language from the process. Easier said than done, right? Well, I found ways to do it. Step 1. Use pictures, not words. Instead of thinking. Slovak, Toto Janaya. English. This is a book. I trained myself to look at the object and just think, book. No Slovak. Just image right pointing arrow word. I practiced this every day. I looked around my room and named objects. Chair, table, phone, light, window. I described my actions out loud. I'm brushing my teeth. I'm making coffee. I'm walking to work. I used a mirror and talked to myself in the morning. You look tired today. Let's have a good day. At first, it felt weird. But soon, it became natural. Step 2. Describe what you see. One of my favorite exercises was using silent videos. I watched short clips without sound and described everything I saw out loud in English. Example. There's a man in a red shirt. He is walking fast. Now he's stopping. He looks angry. It didn't matter if I used simple words. What mattered was that I was thinking in English, not translating. You can use silent nature videos, cartoon clips, travel vlogs, even your own street view. This trains your brain to connect words directly. Step 3. Picture words in context. I also changed how I learned vocabulary. Before, I memorized word lists. Now, I used visual memory. Instead of translating, I imagined the word in action. Example. Instead of run equals bezit, I imagined myself running through the park. Instead of apple equals jablko, I imagined holding, smelling, and eating one. This made the words stick deeper in my brain and connected directly to the world. Step 4. Speak in English about your day. Every evening, I told the story of my day in English. Out loud. No writing. No notes. Just me, my voice, and my memory. Today I woke up late. I had coffee. The machine broke again. I fixed it. Then I watched a video about elephants. It was interesting. No pressure to be perfect. I just spoke. If I forgot a word, I explained it another way. Example. I saw, the thing that flies. It's black. Makes a buzzing sound. Someone would guess. A drone? A fly? A helicopter? That's communication. That's fluency, not perfection. Step 5. Avoid native language habits. I also made small but important changes. I changed my phone to English. I used Google in English. I followed English YouTube channels. I read short stories in English. I stopped using subtitles in my language. This created a small English bubble around me, even in Slovakia. Over time, I stopped needing Slovak as a bridge. You can train your brain to think in English. Thinking in English is not magic. It's practice. You can train your brain just like you train your muscles. The more you see, say, and hear English directly connected to the world around you, the more natural it becomes. Soon, words will appear without translation. And that's when fluency begins. Tips you can use today. 1. Name everything you see. Walk around your home and name objects in English. Do it daily. 2. Narrate your actions. Speak out loud about what you're doing. I'm washing the dishes. I'm opening the window. I'm going outside. 3. Use silent video description. Watch short mute clips and describe them in real time. Don't pause. Just talk. 4. Tell your day's story out loud. In the evening, speak 5 to 10 sentences about your day. No writing. Just speaking. 5. Avoid translation when learning new words. Use images, gestures, examples. Try to feel the meaning instead of using your native word. 6. Live in English digitally. Switch your apps, browser, and devices to English. Follow English creators online. Create immersion. What changed for me? After 3 months of doing this, something strange happened. I was walking to work one morning and thought, I need to buy new batteries. Then I stopped. I had thought that sentence directly in English, with no translation. It just appeared. I smiled. This was real fluency. Not because I knew every word, but because I was finally thinking in the language I was learning. It felt like freedom. Final chapter coming up. We'll wrap up this audiobook with one final message. What fluency really means, and how you can write your own English success story, starting today. Let's finish strong. Chapter 8 is next. Your turn. Write your own story. You've made it to the end of this audiobook. You've followed my journey, from total beginner to confident English speaker. You've seen the steps I took. I made a decision. I built a daily habit. I learned to speak before I felt ready. I used grammar through practice, not pressure. I started real conversations. I tested my skills in the real world. I trained my brain to think in English. But this story isn't just about me. It's about you. Now it's your turn. What will your story look like? You don't have to move to another country. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need a teacher, a class, or a big budget. You need two things. 1. A reason. 2. A routine. That's it. With those two things, you can go from zero to confident, just like I did. Fluency is not perfection. Fluency does not mean knowing every word. Fluency does not mean speaking without errors. Fluency means being able to understand the main idea, express your thoughts, keep the conversation going, enjoy the language. Fluency is freedom, and it's possible for you. Keep it simple, keep going. If you remember only one thing from this audiobook, remember this. Small steps every day beat big steps once a week. 5 minutes of English every day is better than 1 hour on Sunday. Every time you listen to a podcast, read a short story, talk to yourself, or send a message in English, you are building fluency. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start messy. Start small. Just start. Final words of advice. Be consistent. A little every day is enough. Be brave. Speak even when you're scared. Be curious. English is not a school subject. It's a door to the world. Be kind to yourself. Mistakes are normal. Keep going. Thank you for listening. I hope this audiobook gave you more than tips. I hope it gave you belief. Belief that you can do it. Belief that your story matters. Belief that you are ready. Because you are. Now go and write your English story. And maybe one day, someone will listen to it, just like you listened to mine. Thank you. Keep learning, and never stop speaking. Like this story? Then don't forget to follow and subscribe for more powerful stories just like this one. Every week, we bring you inspiring lessons, real-life success stories, and English listening practice to keep you learning and growing. This is Learn Smarter, where motivation meets language. Subscribe now, and start building your own legacy, one step at a time.